Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films. Welcome to another random review. Today we're going to talk about a film made in 1942 starring Humphrey Bogart, Conrad Veidt, Peter Lorre, about foiling the Nazis. I'm talking, of course, about All Through the Night, which strangely enough has some of the same actors that Casablanca would have. This is going to be a really lazy, unintelligent review because I'm going to call this film completely bonkers, which isn't very deep analysis. It's directed by Vincent Sherman, who was an actor and then became a director. It has a host of familiar Hollywood faces, like Jane Darwell, who was Henry Fonda's mother in Grapes of Wrath. She plays Humphrey Bogart's mother, who plays a character called Gloves Donahue. Jackie Gleason is in this film. Phil Silvers is in this film. It's about Humphrey Bogart as Gloves Donahue, who's a kind of local scam artist who has this gang of misfits and reprobates and a bizarre company. One day the local baker is found dead, much to the neighbourhood's consternation. A strange young woman appears and then disappears, played by Karen Verne with 2 A's. And Humphrey Bogart investigates to make his mum feel better, and he gets involved with a ring of Nazis who are planning to blow things up, led by Conrad Veidt and Peter Lorre. The reason I'm being lazy and just calling this film bonkers is because it is. It has a severe identity crisis. It's part Three Stooges. There's like slapstick comedy in it. It's part Abbott and Costello. It's part Howard Hawks, Preston Sturges, Ernst Lubitsch, rapid fire screwball comedy dialogue. It has a smattering of action and fist fights, but it's just so strange that they ever thought it would be kind of successful. I don't know how it did when it was actually released. But the thing about it, despite all that, it's so much fun. Conrad Veidt, they use the front of an auction house, so you hear his voice before you see his face. But as soon as you hear that voice, you know everything's going to be all Veidt on the night. He's an absolute pleasure. Sadly, you kind of know a year later he would be dead. Peter Lorre plays a Peter Lorre type character, and he's wonderful. I mean, I'm not a huge Humphrey Bogart historian. Obviously, he did do some comedies, but this is completely different to, say, Sabrina with Billy Wilder. This is kind of screwball, like I said, screwball Abbott and Costello Humphrey Bogart, and he's having a whale of a time. You can kind of see that. There is a bizarre scene where Bogart and one of his gang end up going to an underground meeting of the Nazis and actually pretend to be Nazis, and they have to come up to the front and give evidence of the report for investigating the mines around the area they want to blow up. And of course Bogart doesn't put on a German accent or anything, doesn't pretend, he just is bogey, but he's pretending to be a German. It's bizarre and quite frankly strange. Conrad Veidt is quite nasty. He blows people away just for disagreeing with him, because he's so focused on the task at hand and trying to blow up a bit of the US Navy. There's a wonderful scene that I think encapsulates the film, where we see Conrad Veidt in silhouette and he's slapping Karen Verne, and the evil Nazi woman is in the light, so we see her and we just see the silhouette of Veidt and Karen Verne as he's slapping her on the wall, and the evil Nazi woman is sitting stroking a sausage dog. The sausage dog does appear a bit in the film. I won't tell you what happens to the sausage dog. You're going to have to watch the film yourself to find that out. It's such a strange, odd film, but it's also kind of wonderful. I just have it on DVD, but hopefully, again, let me know if it's available on Blu-ray. But I don't know whether it's something that Kino Lorber might turn up at some point. But it's just a strange film. And again, there's a lot of stuff about, this was 1942, obviously America joined the war in 1941, but there's a lot of the attitude of it's stuff over there and it doesn't really affect us. But then when there's talk of oh, there's Nazis over here and they're going to take over America, they're not really, the gang and the kind of locals aren't really that bothered about it until Humphrey Bogart gives this amazing speech about, they'll tell you what to wear and what to read and what to eat, and then it's kind of like, oh, we've got to do something about this. It just has a very strange vibe. I mean, the tagline was Killer Bogart takes on the Gestapo or something like that, takes the Gestapo for a ride. It's bizarre. It's this light-hearted knockabout slapstick comedy for part of it, this amazing screwball script with lines that are like 100 miles an hour. There's so many wonderful one-liners. Jackie Gleason, Phil Silvers, excuse me. It's just this bizarre mix of things that don't quite work, but it's a fascinating film to watch and a really enjoyable film to watch while it's not quite working. The running time absolutely flew by. Again, once Veidt turns up and Peter Lorre, it's just an absolute treat, even though it doesn't quite work. But again, it's just one of those films that even in the madness, it's still a lot of fun and really enjoyable, but really, really strange. I should have said Vincent Sherman, who directed it. One of the many films he directed was Affair in Trinidad, which is actually coming out on the Columbia, one of the Columbia box sets by Indicator. I think it might actually be Volume 2, but that's Vincent Sherman as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. because this, it does give you the feeling of an actor directing it rather than a director directing it, if that makes any sense. It could have been a lot better. I mean, it's still a load of fun, but again, just the shifting tone, the different kind of energies that come in different parts of the film, because it's listed like as a comedy, action, adventure. It's a very odd little film, but really enjoyable as well. And any time you've got Bogart and Lorre and Veidt in the same film, you're always in for a treat. Yeah, the whole thing starts over a replacement piece of cheesecake. That's how the film kicks off. That's how Bogart gets involved. Yeah, strange, but almost true. So thanks very much for watching this random review, which is fairly random. It's a very random film. Let me know if you have seen All Through the Night from 1942, what you thought of it, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Solitary Ronin, slightly confused, from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.